Hi there, and welcome to our last lesson for nutrition and digestion. We'll be looking at both Lesson 7 and Lesson 8 in this video, as both of them focus on the digestive system and the organs that make it up. The keywords for this lesson are gullet, esophagus, stomach, pancreas, liver, and intestines. And if you didn't know, these are all examples of organs that we find in our digestive system. So please take a moment to pause the video here and complete the first knowledge check of this lesson. So, now that you're finished, let's take it up. Question 1. Define the term malnutrition. As we recall from lessons 5 and 6, malnutrition refers to poor diet. Whereas mal is referring to bad, and then nutrition for, of course, nutrition. 2. Name the wire mesh that can be used to widen narrowed arteries. We find this answer in Lesson 6 as a treatment for heart disease. So refer to Lesson 6. And the mesh is called a stent. This could either be made up of metal or a type of plastic. 3. State the name of the arteries on the surface of the heart. They are called coronary arteries. Coronary arteries. 4. State the name of the drug that can be used to treat heart disease. The medication or the drug that is used to treat heart disease are called statins, and how they work is that they reduce the amount of cholesterol in the blood. Five, state one lifestyle choice that can affect heart health. I listed 3 here. Any of these answers would be correct, but smoking, your exercise habits, as well as your eating habits all have an effect on your heart's health. People who smoke versus people who do not smoke have a higher likelihood of having poor heart health and getting heart disease. In the same manner, people who do not exercise versus people who do exercise, or people who have poor eating habits versus people who have good eating habits. 6. State the name of the process by which plants make glucose. This process is called photosynthesis. 7. State the name of the minerals which harden bones. In our diets, the 2 minerals that help harden our bones are calcium and magnesium. And lastly, 8. State the name of the process in which releases energy from glucose. This process is called respiration, and it releases energy from glucose using oxygen. So, please take a moment to finish taking down these answers as well as the notes on the side, and we'll be moving on to the rest of our lesson. The overview for this lesson today is to identify the organs of the digestive system, as well as place the organs in the correct positions in the body. The digestive system is a combination of organs whose function is to break down or digest large, insoluble food molecules into smaller, soluble molecules and then absorb them in the blood. So we're going to make 2 notes here. First of all, large insoluble food molecules refer to carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins in their native forms in which are too large to absorb. However, our second note, we're going to focus on the word soluble. Soluble refers to substances that are able to dissolve. Therefore, if we have insoluble molecules, it means that they cannot dissolve. In the box below, try to name as many organs as you can think of that are involved in digestion. Keep in mind, I've given you a hint at the beginning of this lesson. Take a moment now to pause the video and fill in the box. So, moving forward, we're going to take a look at this diagram of the digestive system. As you can see, there's a clear placement for each organ in our digestive system, and there's probably more than you thought you could name. Food or digestion starts in the mouth, as well as it involves our salivary glands or saliva. It traces down the esophagus or gullet, in which it reaches the stomach. From the stomach, it moves into the small intestine, from the small intestine to the large intestine, which then is excreted as waste or excrement through the rectum and the anus. Each organ has a very specific job in what it must do to help us digest food and absorb the nutrients that we intake. Take a moment to read over this diagram again and try to remember as many of the digestive organs as possible in the correct order. After you're finished, list as many digestive organs as you can without looking, very similar to as when you are doing your prep work. Pause the video here. As you've taken a moment now to register in your mind the different digestive organs, practice labeling the digestive organs below. I've given you a couple of hints for this second diagram. Moving forward, we're going to look at the different organ functions of the organs in the digestive system. To give you an introduction to this, I want you to watch this YouTube clip found here. It'll be linked in the description section below. While you're watching this video, write down any functions that you can identify from the clip in the box below, as well as any functions of the organs that you think you already know. For the last bit of this lesson, I want you to try to list as many of the organs as you can without looking at the diagrams above. The more you get, the better you've registered the knowledge from this lesson. And once you're finished, we're going to move on to Lesson 8. So now that we're moving on to Lesson 8, we're going to focus on the digestive system as well as the functions of each individual organ. The keywords will be hydrochloric acid, bile, and absorption. Each of these keywords describes a different function of the main organs in our digestive system. So please take a moment to copy down that note and complete the first knowledge check of Lesson 8. Now that you're finished, let's take it up. Suggest the scientific name for the gullet. As we referred to in Lesson 7, the gullet is also called the esophagus. State the organs that are connected either side of the gullet. So, if we look at the diagram in Lesson 7, we can see that the esophagus starts at the top of our digestive system, where our mouth is, and it ends with our stomach. 3. Suggest the function of the gullet. The gullet's function, or the esophagus's function, is to move food from the mouth to the stomach for further breakdown / digestion. 4. State the organ that leads from the stomach. So after the stomach, our digestive system begins to trail into our small intestine. 5. State the name of the organ that sits between the stomach and the small intestine. This is the pancreas. 6. Suggest the nutritional group that helps move food from the digestive system. This is fiber. 7. State the name of the blood vessels on the surface of the heart. We have coronary arteries. And lastly, 8. Suggest one treatment for heart disease. We've discussed 3 before, so we have the surgery method or the surgery treatment, which involves stents, the medication treatment, which involves statins, and lastly, good diet as well as exercising regularly. All of these are treatments for heart disease. However, the 2 main treatments after one does contract heart disease are stents and statins. So, as I said earlier, in this other half of the lesson, we're going to look at the functions of the digestive organs. We've seen this diagram already, so as extra practice, try again to label the rest of this diagram. Pause the video here, and we'll take it up in just one moment. Now that you're done, check your answers and see how close you got. This next learning activity, I want you to watch this YouTube clip that will be found in the description section below, and it will give you the gums to tums demonstration, which shows the different functions of the different organs in the digestive system, as well as it will follow food as we watch it move through our digestive system. After you complete the video, we will look at the functions of the different organs together and complete the table below. So now that you're finished watching that video, we're going to fill in this table with the different functions of the digestive system organs. So think about food. Food first enters in our mouths, in which we have to chew it. And what that is actually meant to do is to start the physical breakdown of food so that it'll be easier to swallow and move to our stomach to be further broken down. But what we didn't know is that our mouths have saliva in which breaks down sugars. So there are 2 types of breakdown in our mouth. Physical, which is through our teeth, as well as a chemical breakdown due to our saliva. Next, we have the gullet. And if we follow the food down our esophagus or gullet, we find a trail of muscles in which help move all the food that we've broken down physically into our stomach. So the function of the gullet is to move food to the stomach. Once the food gets to our stomach has a very special chemical in it called hydrochloric acid, in which we also refer to it as stomach acids. This helps physically break down the food more, to the point in which it's liquefied. Additionally, our stomach also contains enzymes which help break down the other large food molecules. And if you refer to lesson 7, they are large insoluble molecules. After our food is finished being liquefied in our stomach, it moves to the small intestine. The job of the small intestine is to absorb food and nutrients into our blood, as going through our stomach has greatly broken down most of the large insoluble molecules into smaller soluble molecules. After it is absorbed into our blood, it moves to the large intestine, where water is absorbed back into the blood. From there, we get to the point in which our food starts looking like fecal matter. In our rectum, we store the remaining waste / indigestible parts of our food. And lastly, in our anus, we excrete the waste product out of our body. So take a moment to copy this down, and we'll be moving to the remainder of our organs. After following the physical breakdown of our food from where it starts to where it ends, we're going to look at the chemical breakdown as well. We have the liver. The liver is a very important organ that everybody needs to have in good health. The liver helps filter toxins as well as breaks down in large insoluble fats. It does so by creating a chemical called bile. So by producing bile. Next we have our gallbladder. The gallbladder stores bile that is produced by the liver, just in case we need to use it later on. Lastly, we have the pancreas. The pancreas produces insulin, which initiates or starts the breakdown of sugars in the blood. So, if you are unfamiliar, we did talk about it in lesson 6. The pancreas is very important in managing your blood sugar levels, and people who do not have a working pancreas have a disease called diabetes, in which they have to manually manage their blood sugars. So, before we end this video, please take a look at this third, final YouTube clip about the different organs in the body. Once you've finished, please complete the last knowledge check of this lesson and this unit, and we'll take it up in just one moment. Pause the video here. Alright, now that you're finished, let's take it up. State the names of 5 organs Okay, now that you're finished, let's take it up. State the names of 5 organs in the digestive system. In the course of this video, we've learned more than 5 organs. However, the 5 easiest organs to remember are the ones in which we can track and trace food as we eat it. It starts in our mouth, it moves down our gullet, into our stomach. From our stomach, we have the large intestine and the small intestine. 2. State which organ absorbs food into the blood. Small intestine. State which organ absorbs water into the blood. It is the large intestine. 4. State which organ contains hydrochloric acid. It is the stomach. 5. State which organ produces bile. It is the liver. Suggest the functions of bile. The breakdown of large fat molecules. 7. State which organ produces digestive juices, including enzymes. The main organ that produces digestive juices would be the pancreas. 8. State which organ produces saliva. The salivary glands. 9. Suggest the function of saliva. The main function of saliva is for lubrication of food while we chew it. Additionally, it does help in the breakdown of sugars due to an enzyme found in it. 10. Suggest why it would be possible to swallow food if you're upside down. As we've discussed earlier, the gullet, or the esophagus, is muscular, in which it will be able to push food down. 11. Suggest why the stomach doesn't digest itself. The lining of the stomach does not break down from the acid in which it contains. 12. State the name of the acid found in the stomach. It is called hydrochloric acid. 13. Suggest 2 functions of the acid in the stomach. First and foremost, the acid is meant to liquefy your food. Secondly, it helps further break down large molecules so that your small intestine could properly absorb it into the blood. Lastly, suggest the name of the organ that stores bile. This is the gallbladder. Please take a moment to finish copying down the answers in this second knowledge check. So, with that, we're finished this unit for nutrition and digestion. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.